Swap party rules, tips, and other ideas you need to know. Are you looking for some swap party rules, tips, and other ideas to make your event a rousing success? I first heard about swap parties when a friend invited me to one. It was such a fun way to shop for free that I now recommend it frequently, especially if you're on a tight budget or doing a no-spend challenge. Swap parties are a rare opportunity to trade for stylish goods you often won't find in stores today. The fun part is that you just don't know what you'll find. While the concept is simple, hosting a swap party takes a bit of planning and preparation. How do you organize a swap party? Here are important tips, including rules to put in place, so that everyone has a great experience and leaves with a bunch of goodies at your next swap party. What is a swap party? At its core, a swap party is a gathering where friends, family, or community members come together to exchange items they no longer need or want. It's like a potluck, but instead of food, everyone brings goods to swap. This could range from clothing and accessories to books, household items, and even plants. The beauty of a swap party lies in its simplicity, and the joy of finding new treasures among what others have outgrown or no longer need. Chances are you have things you haven't touched for over a year. Maybe it's a crepe maker because you're just not into crepes anymore. Perhaps it's new clothes you got as a gift, but just couldn't make it work with your wardrobe. These things are just taking up valuable space in your home. Why host a swap party? A swapping party is a unique way to hang out with friends, clean out your closet and house, and go shopping without spending money. Since you know where the goods are coming from, you can feel comfortable knowing you're getting things that have been taken care of and are still in good condition. Not to mention, you're doing something that's great for the community and environment by reusing items that might otherwise have ended up in the garbage. Lastly, it's a great activity to take part in when you're trying to save money. You'll still be able to enjoy the thrill of getting something new without affecting your monthly budget in any way. Plus, who doesn't love a fun night with your friends? How does a swap party work? Swap parties are pretty straightforward for the guests. All they need to do is pick out some items from home. They no longer need that align with the theme of your swap party, and arrive on time. There is definitely more work for you as the host. But don't worry, I will walk you through my top rules, tips, and ideas for hosting a swap party that goes off without a hitch. Swap party rules. The trickiest part of organizing a swap party is creating a system that works for everyone. But there are simple rules you can put in place to make your swapping party fair and easy. I recommend including these rules directly in your invite, and then again at the start of your party so you can be sure everyone knows the rules. 1. Create a theme. Be clear about what type of goods this swap party is about. You can make it a bring anything you want swap party, or make it specific for kids' items, clothing, books, Christmas stuff, kitchen tools, etc. You could also go really specific with a theme like designer purses, jewelry, or kids' clothing 0 months to 5 years. But I've been to swap parties where you can bring anything, and that's okay too. Just make sure you're trading things of similar value so that it's fair. 2. Be clear about what type of items people should bring. You want everyone to have the same understanding and expectations about what goods should be brought in. You don't want some people bringing $200 purses while others bring in $5 pantyhose. This makes everyone feel bad. You want people to leave the party feeling like they received what they put into it. A way to do this is to provide examples and state what goods, if any, you don't want at your swap party. For example, if you're having a general clothing party, you might want to say no used undergarments, swimwear, etc. Usually this goes without saying, but sometimes it's good to clarify things anyways. If this party is about women's clothes only, state it. 3. Set a specific number of pieces each person must bring to participate. There's nothing worse than going to a swap party where some people only brought one thing while others brought 20. This does not make it fun for the people who are contributing a lot of selection. That's why I like to recommend that you specify how many pieces each participant should bring at a minimum and a maximum. For example, you could say that every attendee has to bring 5 pieces but no more than 15. If 10 people will be in attendance, that means there will be at least 45 pieces for each person to comb through. You can do this with any number of items. This is essential if you're inviting a lot of guests or you have limited space. 4. Set a rule that no excessively large items will be accepted, either items larger than a storage bin. You want to make the whole process manageable for yourself. Unless you own a large truck, You don't want to be responsible for lugging a lot of huge items to the donation center afterwards. This will be fairly easy if all you're doing at the party is clothes, but if you start to get too many books or other large and heavy items, this could become a nightmare for you later. 5. State the expected condition of items to be swapped. For example, only clean goods in excellent condition will be accepted. Nothing that's stained, expired, smelly, chipped, cracked, scratched, dented, broken, missing key pieces, etc. Basically, there should be no damage to the item. If you're having a high-end goods swap party, you could mention that no fakes will be accepted. Ask guests to bring items on a hanger if they look best that way. 6. Bring your own shopping bag. Unless you have a million reusable shopping bags piled up that you'd like to get rid of, I highly recommend reminding people to bring their own bags. This will help you avoid scrambling around to find bags they can use at the last minute. 7. No swapping until everyone has arrived. Inevitably, people will be trickling in at the start of the party laying out what they've brought in, and people may be tempted to start grabbing things right away. However, to ensure everyone has a chance to see everything, it can be a good idea to put a rule in place that means no one can start swapping until everyone has arrived and everything's been laid out. 8. No taking more items than you brought in. Back to what I said before in this blog post, it's never as much fun for people who bring in 20 items if the other people only bring a couple of items and then get a free-for-all with what they grab. To keep it balanced, you can make a rule that you can only take the same number of items you brought. For example, if you brought 6 things to the swap, you can only take 6 things home with you. Unless there are leftover items at the end of the party that are just going to get donated anyways, but this is up to you, the host. You can do the honor system, but if you'd feel more comfortable doing this with tokens, it can be an easy way to make sure this rule is managed by all participants. Swap Party Invitation. The Swap Party Invitation is a key component to making sure your event has a good attendance rate. You can use a digital invite like a Facebook event if all the Swap Party invitees are on Facebook. You can also use RSVPify if you're having a small swap party event. The first 100 RSVPs are free. It's easier to keep track of RSVPs as well as send reminders and updates. It's also eco-friendly and takes less time because you don't have to print out invites and send them. Give guests at least a few weeks' notice so they have time to go through their belongings and select appropriate pieces. Make sure all the guests can see who's coming so they can ensure to not bring gifts from others on the list they never used. Take your time with the swap party invitation wording. In the invitation, you want to state event date, time, place, RSVP date. The rules including how the swap party will work and what guests should bring. What will happen to the leftovers? How does a swap party work? Trade in 5 clothes, accessories, or pairs of shoes for some new stylish goods to freshen up your wardrobe for free. Items traded in must be new or in excellent used condition, no damage. Clean. Women's items only. No underwear or swimwear will be accepted. All leftovers will be donated to charity. This is a potluck event. Please bring an appetizer to share. RSVP deadline. Send a follow-up reminder a few days before the event. The swap process. On the day of the event, I recommend setting up a space where items can be displayed attractively and shopped with ease. You can use tables for smaller items, racks for clothing, categorized bins for accessories. These are just a few ideas, but don't be afraid to get creative. The goal is to have dedicated space for the swap items to be displayed as guests arrive to avoid chaos during the swap party. Once everyone has arrived and set up their items, kick off the swapping. Depending on your rules, you can allow free browsing and swapping, or you can organize rounds to give everyone a fair chance at the items they've been eyeing. Swap party ideas and tips. Here are 12 other tips and ideas to ensure your swap party is fun for everyone. 1. Choose your invitees carefully. It might be difficult, but try to invite people with similar tastes and lifestyles to the swapping party. For example, you might not want to invite people who have pet allergies if you're inviting people who have pets. Same thing applies to people who have a sensitivity to smoke versus smokers. If you're inviting people with kids and without kids and say you're having a bring anything event, you'll want to ensure there are enough people in both groups to benefit. If you're having a primarily clothing swap party, you might want to invite people who are a range of sizes, ensuring that there are at least a few people who can trade outfits. Alternatively, you can invite people who are only a similar size. Or have a clothing and accessories party so people can trade jewelry, shoes, hats, etc. as well. Lastly, think about the number of people you're inviting. Having more than 5 people ensures there's a wide variety of pieces. If you invite more than 20, you might want to first think about whether you even have the space to entertain 20 people. If those 20 people bring 5 items each, can you display 100 items? 2. Find a workable space. It's best to do this in a home. You have everything you need for a swapping party in a house, like tables, mirrors, a bathroom, etc. If you don't have room to do it in your living room, dining room, or bedroom, consider renting out a space at a local library, recreational center, or church. If you have a blank space rented, keep in mind you'll have to bring in tables, chairs, and other party essentials. 3. Set the atmosphere. Have some music playing and serve food and drinks. Just simple snacks like crackers, cheese, dips, veggies, cookies, etc. You can have a wine and cheese, desserts, or an English tea sandwiches party. This will keep people entertained while others are shopping. If you'd like to keep your own costs down, consider making it a potluck event too, which is a great excuse for people to share their recipes at the same time. If you don't want to ask people to bring anything with them, check out this blog post for tips on how to entertain on a budget. 4. Have display areas. Your guests don't want to feel like they're going through someone's attic. To avoid this feeling, get your guests to take the items out of the bags and boxes they came in and display them on tables and other surfaces. You want to get things off the ground and make it easy for people to see what they're looking at. No one wants to bend their back to reach an item. Also, make sure you have good lighting. Add a table lamp or two if you need it. Use extra long tables or side tables if you're having a large party. You can also use storage bins and trunks to elevate pieces. If you're accepting clothing, it's a good idea to have a clothing rack or a clothesline as well as a full-length mirror available. Ideally, you'll also want to section off a space for trying on items. You can use a room divider to help. If this is a food swap, you can use trays, tins, and containers. If there are electronic goods, you'll want to have power outlets within close reach so people can test things out. You want to make the items look presentable so people almost feel like they're at a retail location. I know it might seem like a lot of work, but this extra bit of preparation will go a long way towards making people feel comfortable. But don't stress too much about setting up. Things will get messed up as people look for their new find. Just try to keep things spaced out and off the ground as best you can at your swapping party. 5. Organize the items. Especially if you're having a large swapping party, you'll want to organize the items to make them easy to view, comb through, and access. For example, sort clothes by color, size, and/or type. Children's items by age and/or category. Books by type, e.g. non-fiction, cooking, etc. General house stuff by the room it's used in, e.g. toasters in the kitchen section, blankets in the bedroom section, etc. There are a few options for how to get this space initially organized. When people first come to the party, you can grab the items and spend 15 minutes organizing things yourself while guests help themselves to food. 2. Or you could ask them to drop off their items in the labeled sections. Ask them to make their items look presentable, e.g. put their clothes on hangers or fold their pants and put them in the designated space. You can always do a quick 5-minute final check to make sure everything is well laid out. If you're having a large swapping party, you might even want to think about asking guests to drop off their items a few days in advance. Depending on the amount of items, you can select the organization plan that works best for you. 6. Establish a fair shopping system. For example, you can divide people into groups of 1 to 5 people in group A, B, C, etc. Have each person pull a letter, representing the group letter, out of a hat. Have each group shop for 1 to 2 items for a maximum of 5 to 10 minutes to keep people moving quickly. To avoid having to call out names for every round, you can assign times based on the order. When everyone's had a chance to shop once, you can redraw numbers or just continue with the same groups. 7. Use tickets. If you're allowing people to bring in different quantities of items, you can use tickets or marbles, buttons, poker chips, clothespins, toothpicks, etc. as currency for swapping goods. 1 ticket equals 1 item to be swapped. For example, if a guest donates 5 items, give out 5 tickets that can be used to purchase 5 new items. Every time a person or people leave around, you can take the tickets they used. Alternatively, you could just tell people that they can't take home more items than they brought. Your guests are people you know, so you can trust they'll abide by your rule. 8. Have help. Don't be afraid to ask for help at your swapping party. You can ask a close family member or friend to help with everything for the event from setup to directing guests. If it's a big swapping party, you're going to need all the help you can get. 9. Make it easy for people to try on clothes. I already mentioned this above, but it's a good idea to have a spot where people can try on the clothes to make sure they like how they fit. You can do this by having a bathroom set up or a curtained-off area in your home for them to go to. To make it easier for your guests, you can also plant the seed that they should wear tank tops and leggings to make it easy to try clothes on top of what they are already wearing whenever possible. 10. Have extras in case. Even though you want to stipulate that people bring their own shopping bags, you should still have bags available in case anyone forgets. Same applies to hangers if you're doing a display on a clothing rack. 11. Make a plan for items that are not selected. You could donate goods to the Salvation Army, or have them taken back by their original owners. Here's a happy medium. At the end of the shopping, before everyone's gone back into the shopping space to see what's left over, you can put all the remaining pieces on one table for donation. Donating goods avoids the uncomfortable feeling guests might have if they notice a lot of their goods weren't taken. With everything on one small table, people can't see as easily what was and wasn't taken. At this point, you can give guests the option of having a final look to see if they want to grab any last pieces or take back their original pieces, if they're remaining. You can also ask them to grab the hangers they brought with them. If you plan to donate items, make sure you check to see if there is a pickup service in the area to save yourself the trip. Also ask your guests if they know of any families who could use the donation. 12. Offer guests tips on how to declutter. This is a bit of an above and beyond the call of duty, but if you want to help people find items to declutter, you can tell your guests about Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. It focuses on only keeping possessions that spark joy. You might find tips in her book to help yourself find those 5 to 10 items you want to get rid of. One nugget in the book is her clothes organizing method of folding clothes, so they stand up in a drawer and are not on top of each other. This allows you to see all of your clothes when you open the drawer. It's so much more productive this way. Another optional add-on. When your guests have found their swappables, you can ask them to write a quick one sentence on how they used it, what they recommend about it, etc. Again, this is totally unnecessary, but it just adds that personalized touch that'll help people when they're searching for their take-home items. Final thoughts on organizing a swap party. Just because hosting a swap party is a lot of work, it doesn't mean you can't have some fun too. Don't forget to relax and have fun at your swap event. You earned it. Swap parties can be a lot of work, but they're events people will remember. Have some food and swap away. Visit shopmommoneymap.com for more information.